Good, good morning. Um, I am Dr. Tonya Robinson, and I'm an obstetrician gynecologist, and have been awarded with the pleasure of being able to speak to you all today. Um, I'm going to take kind of an informal approach because I know as medical students, you're used to sitting in lectures all day. But I want this to be as informative as possible. And I'm very happy to have this opportunity to speak with you. So like I said, my name is Tonya Robinson, and I am from Warner Robins, Georgia, born and raised. Completed high school, went on to college, completed that 4 years, and went on to medical school and completed that 4 years. And that's kind of the typical, I'll say, typical path for an OBGYN physician or physician, period. Because people sometimes come through many paths. They may not go straight from school to college to medical school or professional school. And so that's the beauty of this field. You can come into it at any time you want and pursue your education if that's what you want to do, because many times we have decisions made, and this thing called life can sometimes sidetrack us. So I'm just going to start briefly with my personal career experience. Like I just told you, after medical school, I did go on to complete my residency, and I trained in Detroit, Michigan, which was quite exciting and definitely a learning experience. I'm this Southern introverted young college graduate and medical school graduate going off to a majorly big city coming from this small town. But I learned a lot in my training, and it's something that to this day is difficult. And as it was, I'm very appreciative because it allows me to be able to manage high-risk patients when that's something that none of us really set out to do. So as far as trying to just enlighten you a little bit, I personally have moved back to Georgia a few years back in 2009 because I wanted to practice in the underserved community. Initially, I will say that the main two reasons was, number one, I wanted to come back home to where my family was. And number two, they do offer you a significant financial compensation when you're just coming out of medical school, or even if you've been out for a while working. And that just speaks volumes as to the extent of the limited resources that there are. And so people will pay you to come and work in these underserved communities. I want you to understand that if you choose to do so, you must possess a great amount of patience and tolerance. It's difficult because you're working with a different background of, different diverse cultures and beliefs, and things don't always go the way that they do in textbooks. You'll see cases that you've never even read about or seen, or even in a movie. And also, one of the beauties of this is that you learn how to navigate around things. You develop instinct as to how to manage these complicated obstetric and gynecologic patients. There's so much pathology in the underserved communities. And you may feel initially like you're not trained to manage them. And honestly, I would say you're not trained enough, but guess what? This experience trains you itself. It's on the job training, it's on the job learning. And it can be scary, but always, always know that no matter what, and this is something I've kept as a firm belief, I've never been too proud to ask for help. And you have people that you can reach out to, because you want to find people who are going to support you, who are going to celebrate you, and who are going to encourage you. I would not say that medical school is hard. Life is hard. Um, you just have to dig down within yourself and say, okay, this is what I want to do. Because for years, I just knew that I wanted to be a pediatrician because I just love children and babies. But after my first clinical pediatric rotation in residency, I decided, no, I don't think this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I love children, I love babies, but there's something about them crying and they're so innocent and they can't talk to you and tell you what's going on with them. Um, so as a matter of fact, my attending that was training me at that time told me that I needed to suck it up because I was crying as much as the children were. But it's just really difficult seeing them hurt. So then I went on to my OB/GYN rotation and absolutely loved it. Um, there's just something remarkable about the ability to be able to help bring life into this world. And 85% of the time, it's just a wonderful, just gratifying experience. And then other times it can be scary. But like I said before, as I stated, um, life is scary. And it's funny how we have a set plan for our lives, even, especially when we're young adults. We think, okay, when we graduate from high school, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then that. But again, life can sometimes curtail things, and you just have to be willing to dig down within and gain that strength and say, okay, I've I've hit a roadblock. I'm facing an obstacle. This, but this is what I have to do. And when I encounter those situations, I sit down, I make a list of the issues, and then next to that, I sit there and I think and contemplate and pray a lot. And I make a list, okay, what things can I do to make this happen? Another thing is that in these communities, you encounter patients who have none to minimal education. And it's really sad because it becomes a cycle. It becomes a vicious cycle. You see patients that are, I think the youngest that I ever saw was 10 years old, that was pregnant. And that was very difficult. Um, you find yourself working as not only a physician, but also as an advisor, a therapist. Um, you find yourself encouraging these young patients that you see that just because you got pregnant when you were in the 11th or 12th grade, it doesn't mean that you have to drop out of school. As a matter of fact, it's more incentive for you to continue on and to complete school. And then once you get your graduate degree or your high school diploma, then you sit back and you decide, okay, I have this child to take care of. I need a plan. And there are many, many resources out there that are available to you to help you figure out your path. And even still then, it may not go in the exact timing or fashion that you want it to. So you have to know, that this is a very litigious field to be in as well. For years, I was just in constant panic mode because all these other doctors telling me, oh, you're going to do OB-GYN. Oh, you're going to get sued one day. It's inevitable. And I let that fear get embedded into my mind, and it paralyzed me with fear for a couple of years. I'm just worrying about, I'm going to get sued. They're telling me I'm going to get sued. And to this day, thank God, I've never encountered that experience, and I pray that I never will. But it is something to think about. As long as I just keep telling myself and my colleagues, as long as you're practicing with integrity, you're being honest, and you're willing to provide quality care for these women, that's what's going to give you your drive to keep moving on. If we could just look back at each other and see all the diversity, and then go back and embrace each other's unique experiences, unique perspectives, and beliefs on all kinds of issues, we would be able to see the power of what we all can do if we move forward together. This field is a lot about teamwork, and you'll definitely, if not beforehand, find that out once you get into a residency program. That becomes your family, your second family. And you lean on each other and you support each other, because there are going to be times when you doubt yourself and you say, oh, am I good enough to do this? Or I can't handle this. And I've had several people that I know that just bowed out of it because they just didn't have a support system. So it's important to find people that you can keep in your circle that are trustworthy and encouraging. Let's see, I did kind of want to touch on how working in these communities can affect just your personal lifestyle. In the smaller rural communities that I work in, you can sometimes go to the grocery store with your family, say you're not on call, it's after office hours. And patients will literally, if they see you in Walmart or whatever, come up to you and start discussing their symptoms, even though you have your little children there. They see you as family. And it's difficult for you, as a physician, because we're not just doctors. People think that, I don't get sick. You have to deliver my baby. You can't get sick. You have to be here. You can't have any surgery. You can't take a vacation. And you listen to that, but take it with a grain of salt. Because you're there to provide care for them and guidance for them. But you do have your own life. And whether it's just you or you have a spouse or children or whatever, you do have a life. Don't ever forget that, because you're going to sacrifice so much over your career. And then you don't want to look back years later and then see that, I missed out on time with my spouse. I missed out on those family vacations. I missed out on my children's activities. It's not easy, but it's doable. I remember times when, I would be on call and have to get the children up and wrap them up in blankets, put them in the car, rush to the hospital. Nurses would meet me at the back doors, grab the kids. I go park, run up, do a delivery or surgery, and they would kind of watched the children while I was doing that. And so you develop very unique types of relationships. You'll have your relationships with your fellow residents and fellow um, medical students, your colleagues, but those are all invaluable relationships that will help propel you into continued pursuit of this. One major thing that also I have found in these medically underserved and rural communities, the biggest key is the lack of education. And I have always been since I started doing this, I have been on a mission to specifically empower women to be able to live healthier and happier lives, because that in turn has a huge impact on the whole family function. I mean, women are the backbone of society. We really are. And we go unappreciated a lot of times. We sacrifice so much. I hear all the time colleagues that put off having children to pursue a career in OB/GYN, but that's not something that you have to do. If your heart is really in this, you will make the sacrifices, and you will find ways to work around any of the obstacles or the hindrances that come your way. And I can say this, I know from firsthand experience that life happens, but we have to find a way to maneuver around and navigate things to achieve what we're set out to accomplish. Also, another key factor that's very important is the desire, the zeal, the eagerness to continue to learn and to grow. You go through so much schooling to get to the point of becoming an OB/GYN out in practice. And you read so many books, articles, journals, and just know that it's a never-ending process. Medicine and technology change on a daily basis, and you have to keep up with the changes that are going on. So it can become stressful, but you have to find things that you can use as an outlet. For instance, myself, I have music. I play piano. Well, I used to be able to play piano, but that's an outlet for me. I love to sing. Sometimes I'll just turn on music and dance. There have been many midnight calls to parents to cry and just vent. So you have to just find and recognize the outlets and the channels that are there for you to be able to keep you motivated. I guess just in closing, like I said, I have a personal recipe for success. And I developed this idea about 2 years ago. And when I stick to these 3 values that I'm about to state, I found that it's a lot easier for me. And it not only allows me to make maximum use of my skills, it also helps me to be able to help others and encourage them. So, passion. You have to have a passion for doing this. If you don't, you'll start it and you'll say, this isn't for me. Or in your pursuit towards it, you may say, I can't do it. So you have to have a passion to do it. Number 2, have a vision. If you can see what it is after you analyze everything around you and you see what there is to be done, you have a vision. And the next thing, create a plan. and that involves integrity. So in summary, I would say as an OBGYN, or if you're in pursuit of an OBGYN career, um, just remember, always be you. Don't don't let anyone discourage you. Keep your heart and your mind. Have a mindset to continue no matter what. And I am sorry that I wasn't able to be there face to face with you all, but if anyone has any questions or comments or anything, I have my email address. It's TAROBGYN, how unique, at gmail.com. And I'll be happy to answer any questions or listen to any input that anyone may have at any time. I have 5 emails, but I do check them all. So I just thank you for this opportunity, and I encourage you guys to just keep going, pressing and pushing forward. You are enough and you will succeed if this is your desire. Thank you.